What's going on, everybody? Welcome to our podcast, Break the Bread. This is our first time doing a podcast, and we're very excited to bring you on this journey with us. We just wanted to create something to help us, keep in contact with the youth and everyone. And we thought this would be, just a fun way to, be more interactive with you guys and just reach out in a different way. And also, just help you guys to get to know us better and for us to get to know each other better as a team. The reason we named it Break the Bread is because the expression break bread, it can be used to like share a meal with someone or like a close gathering, just a sense of like close bond with people. And so we thought, it just was so fitting for us, to come together with that name. We don't really have a certain way that we want to take this podcast right now. No, we're just kind of, testing the waters and having fun with it. We're you know, really open to anything and just want to be honest with everyone and just have fun with it. But eventually we'll be inviting special guests on the podcast with us, and once we become more comfortable with the flow of things. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out and just stay tuned. Hello, TCNY family. Welcome to our first episode of our podcast, Break the Bread. We're very excited to bring out this new project with us and just hope you, continue to follow us on this journey. For this episode, we're going to focus just mainly on our personal journey, just help you guys get to know us a little bit better. Before we start, I just want the team to introduce themselves to everyone, even though you may know us, but just for those that don't. Um, so I'll start off. I'm Justin Herr. I'm the TCNY president. I'm originally from Portland, Oregon, but I'm now living here in Orlando, Florida. I'm 29 years old. I'm about to turn 30 this year, so I'm getting pretty old. Um, but a fun fact about me is some people know like I have extremely white feet. It's very blinding if you see it. Like the moment I take my socks off is like, bam! It's like a flashlight.
You worse than me.
Yeah, like I wear socks a lot too, like very high socks. Like my feet never sees daylight.
That is so strange.
Hi everyone, my name is Christy. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota. I am 28 years old and I am the vice president for TCNY. I don't know how to answer the fun fact.
There's gotta be
I'll go ahead and
something.
skip that one.
You're like the first thing that pops in your head right now. You too shy to say it, huh?
You're done, Christy?
Oh yeah, I was done.
Oh, okay.
Stop rushing people.
Wait, it's not my turn. It's changed.
I'm just kidding. No.
It's you.
Oh, it's me? I'm sorry. Okay. Hi, I'm Ainza. I am from Fresno, TUCC. I am 27 years old. I am currently this year's treasurer. A fun fact would probably... Okay, this is the only one I can think of. I probably watched The Office and Friends over like 10 times. Like, first last episode. So, I don't know. That's what I came up with.
Not mad at you, though. Office is the greatest show.
It is. Is it really? I need to watch it because she watches it in the background like all the time. Maybe I need to pick up on it.
It's definitely a good show. Like the first 5 episodes kind of slow, but then it picks up.
Yeah. So you
Maybe
guys should all
skip
watch
the first one.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. 안녕하세요. I'm kidding. Alright. Anyways, my name is Chaying, and I'm from Merced, TCC in California, and I just turned 24 like 6 days ago.
Hey!
Fun facts about me is I know how to do Native American dances.
That is true.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
pretty cool.
There's
I'm Adam. I'm from Stockton, California. I just turned 26 2 weeks ago on June 3rd.
wow, everyone's getting old.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you too.
I'm the board of Trinity Christian National Youth. Fun fact, I've never watched The Office. So, yeah.
Wow.
So very original, very original.
I thought you were
I've
gonna say the
actually
Avatar. I was like, same.
no, I watched Avatar. I don't know what you're talking about. Nancy's the one who never watched Avatar. Oh, I guess the fun fact will be like it's the opposite of your. I watched Avatar like over 10 times. So yeah.
Good show.
Wow.
Very
You
good show
guys.
too.
That's
You
very
guys.
good.
It is a very good show.
Cool. Hi, I'm Nancy Yang. I am one of your board members. I am currently 28 and ready to date.
Put that out there.
That's a fun fact.
Right? I changed to 24. I was like, "Oh, you ready to explore?" But I was like, "No, I need to quit that because it's not funny." A fun fact is I was just gonna say I'm an RN. I'm a real nurse, but like y'all know what I mean. But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a fun fact right now, but I don't know. I like joking around, so if I chime in, don't be offended or annoyed. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah, for introducing yourself. This has been such a great team to be part of. Me personally being part of TCNY for such a long time, this team definitely is we're very welcoming, we're very open. I think everyone has a good set of personalities that we balance each other out. So this first episode, I want to focus a lot about just us as leaders and help everyone know us more. Just because a lot of people know, like in the previous years at camp, we did a mentorship called The Journey, and we help youth with different things, starting from their journey of just building their faith or finding out more about themselves. And it was such a fun activity, and we use it to help build bonds between the mentors and mentees. So for this episode, we're going to focus on that, on us leaders. We're going to talk about our own personal journey. And so for our first question for the team is, so how did the journey start for you? How did you get to where you are today in TCNY and just in your faith in general?
Okay. I'll go ahead and start this off for us then. It's a good thing Jay mentioned about the Journey program or mentorship program we had at camp. I volunteered as a mentor for the Journey program also, and so it was a good experience. Just being a mentor and just actually taking the time to listen to your mentee's story. You can actually learn a lot from that too. And so as far as for my journey, I've been serving in my church for a long time, I would say, but I don't think the journey really began until like a couple years ago, when my church merged with, at that time, Kaz Church. That's when I really took time to really focus on my walk, and then Minnesota conference happened in 2017. We all knew that conference was coming, and I didn't really go into it thinking I was gonna be a part of TCNY. I think at that time I was very, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't really want to step into something I didn't really know or to the unknown. But I really went into conference just being open to anything. I really prayed before elections that year. And then I don't know, COD kind of just pulled me in, and then here I am today serving my second term with you guys, and I still do very enjoy it.
Nice, definitely It's definitely been great to have you, be part of TCNY. I think it was definitely a surprise, like you said, when you and Kyle came in, but you guys were definitely the blessing we needed at the time.
Definitely, definitely, because I think it was Justin and I that, like when we were serving together, we depended on you guys so much because you guys lived in Minnesota, and I think we didn't never even met, and we just kind of just put a load on you guys. So yeah, we're very thankful for that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's crazy to mention that, like, we served with each other for so long that we don't even know who served in TCNY, like we just kept during our term during that year with, me, Nancy, and Justin, and we just kind of pull you and Kyle along because we needed the help, because
Mhm.
we didn't know what was going on, we didn't know what was going to happen in TCNY. We didn't know what's going to happen at conference. That's the honest truth.
Yeah,
We didn't even
yeah.
know if we were going to have conference, but we like kept pushing it. I kept pushing it. That was the thing. Like we just kept pushing it, and like the we just threw the job to you guys, and you guys delivered it. You guys delivered it greatly, and with that, we are really grateful for both you and Kai and what you guys did with us and working with us at the conference too.
Yeah, I definitely think that just is just an example of great leadership, even when you're not, like called to it by like having a name or like a title. So that
Mhm.
was legit, and it's a good example for all these kids out there. Like, you don't have to have a title to step up or anything. So
Right.
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
thank you
Sure.
guys for your service.
No problem.
Okay. All right. I'll go next. So my journey, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but I grew up in a Christian home. Um, and I started serving when I was at my old church, and then not long after that, I moved to Trinity Church when I was in high school. And I think growing up in a Christian home, it was just kind of like the norm for me. So I was never really like hot or cold in my faith. It was just something that we did. Um, but like just about 4 to 5 years ago, I definitely became distant from God and the church. And I'm not sure what it was within me to finally want to find God again, but I knew I needed to seek Him, and I just really wanted to try to indulge myself in Him. And so then I started attending Bible study classes with my brother's church, and I even like joined some of their like the young adults for a few months, and just like from within that few months, I was able to learn so much, and I was actually on the verge of like going to the church, but then I decided to utilize what I've learned, and I wanted to implement that within my own church, which is TUCC, and not just that, but like within me. So before becoming the TCNY treasurer, I was debating and I was battling this decision, but there was just something in me that, just it made me want to keep holding on. And I talked to a few people that mentored me, and that's when I decided to take this position and finally serve the national youth after like so many years of being a part of Trinity. So that's my journey with everything. Yeah.
I think just to add on to your during the whole process when an election happened for us in Stockton, where when I was elected as president and we had to like put the team together, and it was such a hard start for us in the beginning because we had only like three of us at the time, and we were trying to fill in the other positions, and we couldn't really find people because everyone we asked was declining, and
Mm.
talking with Jen and everyone, I was just like, it's getting hard. I was like, at this point, like we might just have to move on without anyone being a treasurer. And and Jen just kept saying like, you just gotta wait, like something like someone will answer the calling. It was such a blessing that like year came upon. It was very, very shocking to me, not in a sense where I didn't believe in year, but it was like to have year step up in a time like this where we needed like a new
Yeah.
face, and but he comes with experience. Like it's such a great add-on to the team.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, like with that being said, I even like when I think about it now, I feel sad that I even like gravitated towards leaving. But I felt like with that, I did my soul searching, I guess, and I did my searching, and I I needed to learn more and just to figure myself out, and that really helped with my decision in like serving with TCNY and serving in general again, because it's been a while. Yeah, so thank you guys.
Well, that's awesome. I feel like it's a really good testament for, especially for people that are, getting older. And I feel like once you hit like 16, 17, 18, you start to kind of gravitate away from the church. But it's just a really good testament to show the kids, like, especially when you're in a moment or in days where you kind of debate your life in church, like the answer isn't always to just leave. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's a deeper reason why you're there. And I mean, maybe I had selfish reasons to ask Maya to join the National Youth because she's one of my best friends. But I think it was more along the lines of like, this person is capable. I think it's just they've never stepped out and like really challenged themselves with having such a big responsibility in the church. So I think it's just a good testament to show like sometimes people just need like an extra push to and encouragement that they're doing well, and they're perfect for the role, even the mistakes they have or whatnot. We all have mistakes, but I'm just really glad that mine's took up the role.
Definitely.
So I'm next. How did my journey start? Honestly, it started when I was very young, very, very young, when I used to mostly go to Catholic church. And they were rather very strict with, you gotta pray this way, you gotta do it this way, you gotta do it that way. So it kind of turned me off. It was kind of boring for like a good, I don't know, 5 to 6 years until I was like probably a teenager in high school, when I like started when me and my mom started going to TCC church, and that's where like I started seeking God more, because I was starting to understand things more, and with the people that He put in my life. As of how I got here today, I'm not too sure either, because I'm still on my walk, still like searching, seeking where I'm supposed to be. That's it. I don't really have a definitive answer just yet for that. So he gives it to me.
No, you're good. I said definitely, it's a journey. Not we're all still going through that moment, and the time will come.
I I'll go next. I guess. Well, not I guess. I know I'm very blessed that I was born to a Christian family. That like my parents were pastors way before I was born, and so they were already that role model. And where I started was right after how you get done with like your Sunday school, and then you go to and then you transition to the youth. I was around maybe 12, 13, 14. That was where it all started. I started working with the church's ministry. I was the teacher's assistant, okay? And so that was where that was where my first ministry ever started. And then going beyond that, like 2 3 years into the youth, I became the secretary for 2 years. And then upon that, we just started pulling different ministry, and then we started working into the church ministry still with the youth, with the worship team, and everything just started coming together. And I think that was what created who I am today. And then going beyond that, that was where my training started. And then I became board for the Trinity Christian National Youth in 2015. Am I correct,
I think
Justin?
so. 15, 16.
Yeah, that was the year that we got elected with John and them. And that was the year that I first started in Trinity Christian National Youth. And I didn't know what to expect. you know we just did what we can.
Mm-hmm.
We just served. No matter how hard it was, we still served. And then going beyond that, I stopped for 2 years. And then I didn't stop serving because I went to a different ministry outside of the church, outside of everything. I went to LA and served there, and that was a really great blessing, and to learn about the different parts of what ministry is outside of church too. And so that really opened my eyes into seeing the different parts of what ministry really is. Because ministry is not just inside the church, it is outside of that too. It is beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming back to being a board again for national youth, I knew my time wasn't done with national youth.
Yeah.
Like people always say, oh, like you can't take a break. I'm like, I'm not taking a break. I'm not saying that I'm done serving. Like I never say I was done serving. I just needed like a whole fresh new set of mind to understand what ministry was, and that's what it was. And so yeah, that's where I am today, serving with you guys.
Yeah, most definitely. You went through a long journey.
But like, I grew up in the church. My parents converted when I think I was a baby, but obviously we don't remember that. Um, I guess it was just always just like a normal thing. Going to church, the routine. Your parents wake you up, you get forced to go to church. You don't really understand like what the purpose is. And I'm really grateful for the people that I grew up with, like a lot of the girls. Like you guys might not know them, but like Jer, Michelle, Lila, and Ye, and us and my sister, we are part of a group called, we created a girls group called Girls Fellowship, where we'd come together and do Bible studies. And I think that helps a lot with my growth just as a young girl, looking up to people and them having just a good setting a good example, having Bible studies for us. And then Jimmy as well. I think he kind of raised the youth from the bottom up, and I think that was basically the start of us really like you more than just coming to church. And yeah, basically just grew up coming to church. And then there was a time, I mean, I guess I'm still like struggling through it, but there was a time when, you, like I said earlier, when you get older, you kind of start to either come up with so many different excuses for why you don't go to church and why you're not serving and stuff. And, I started serving in TCNY, I think in 2013. I served as secretary with Sally and them, and yeah, that was a fun year. I remember Sally and us were joking, saying that sometimes the only people would just talk to each other. Yeah, so it's really tough. And I think over the years, I just came up with many excuses for like not serving. And it's just so funny how Justin came up with the name The Journey for just our mentorship and everything, because it really is a journey. Like I never thought that growing up, I never thought I would be the one to come up with excuses or all that stuff, and come up with reasons, or even have the attitude of, if you guys vote for me, I'm not going to do it, so don't even vote for me. So and I had that attitude, and until our elections, when we had the elections, I would, the whole way there, I was telling and I was telling myself, I'm like, I'm not ready, or I don't want to do this, and if they vote for me, I'm just going to say no. And I just kept doing it, and talked to Sandy like right before this, and she just kind of encouraged me. Like, she was telling me about how she's basically going to be pastor in NC, and sometimes it's something you're not prepared for, and you might feel you're not called for it, but it kind of just, that's just the way of God. Like, sometimes it just happens, and you try to come up with so many different excuses why you're not called. And so I think when we were voting, and people just kept saying no, and there was no one that would even be on the list, I think that was just a slap to my face. Like, dude, it should never be this hard to find people to serve. Like, you grow up in the church, and the church is always coming up with excuses for why they don't want to lead the church, and you're just kind of like share with the elders. And then when you look back at yourself, you're like, wow, I mean, I'm just doing the same thing, I'm just younger. So I think that really slapped me in the face, because I couldn't come up with excuses anymore. My excuses were dumb. I think I just needed validation from who, no one was giving it to me, but I just kept repeating myself, I think, just to convince myself that it's okay that I didn't serve. So that was a really big journey for me, because I really convinced myself that, I was getting older, I didn't need to, people could step up, but I'm like, there's nobody to step up, because all these kids are like 12, I mean, not really, but I talked to Sandy, and she kind of she was telling me about her situation, about, like how she had to lead her church. And it was just a situation that, no one ever expected. And so, did I talk about the voting?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I think, that was right before we were voting. And I think I just needed, even if it wasn't validation from her, I needed to speak out my excuses, so I can be like, yeah, I'm okay, I told someone, so if I say no, at least someone will be like, oh yeah, she spoke to me about it. But I think during the voting session, it really slapped me in the face, because it should never be, especially like, in the church, it should never be hard to find people to serve. And I think that's so sad, because we raise people, and we in hopes that they would want to serve. So it was just a slap in the face to me, because I'm like, when you watch the elders do elections, and you get disappointed that some of the elders don't, they always come up with excuses, and you're just like, dude, like, why? And then you realize that you're that exact person. Like, my excuses weren't, good enough anymore. And then, so I think that was just a slap in the face, and it was a good way for God to just be like, like you pretty much done with all your excuses. There's nobody here that can step up, because everyone's still young and inexperienced and stuff. And I was just saying that it's just really cool that Justin came up, or like, our team came up with the branding, or whatever the name, the journey, because it really is a journey to get here. And I just wanted to encourage like all the youths, that no matter how you live your life, even if it's not Christian led or like God led, I mean, don't go out and be like a little palai, or like lie, but no matter how you live your life, God still chooses you. Like in the Journey program, the first time we had it, I wasn't part of TCNY, but they asked me to help lead. And I think, I struggle with deciding when people ask me to do things, because I don't live my life super privately. And like, I put myself out there too. So I don't want people to be like, oh, this is the kind of person you guys have helping you guys serve, so I mean, that's on me too. Like, I need to not that I need to hide my life, but I need to actually just regulate my life to not be the person I am, but I just count myself blessed because no matter how I live my life, no matter how far I think I've gotten from God, no matter how much I don't put God first or whatnot, he still chooses me to do things for him, you know. And I just want to encourage the little kids, you know, you're only like 12. Okay, maybe a little bit older. I'm just being sarcastic. But you're still so young, and you know, you might think that you're not prepared, but don't say no right away when you know people ask you to do things for in your church and in your national youth. You know, like I know it might be hard, but take it step by step and just, you know, kind of let it go. You can say yes and ask someone to help you every step of the way. So it's like, you know, you did it alone, but you did it with someone, you know, so that's just a good growing process too. So I don't know, just if you come up with your excuses, you know, no one will blame you because we've all been there. Just don't let it get to the point where, you know, you ran out of excuses and you kind of feel dumb for it, you know. So yeah, sorry, that was really long, but that was my journey. And just kind of chat a bit about the next journey or whatever. Okay, take it away, Jake.
Just to add up to Nancy, this is to let people know, like, yeah, me and Adam and Nancy, we served together on a team before the previous years, and that year was such a hard year for us when John got married and just kind of like left and put Nancy in a difficult position. She definitely stepped up and did what she could to help us that year, to lead us when we were leaderless. And she definitely brings a lot of experience. And even when she like strayed away every year for elections, it was such a great blessing to have her come back this year.
Yeah.
With Adam too. Like we call ourselves the Redeemers, because we felt so bad for that one year where we had to lead together with not knowing what to do. And I think that year took such a toll on us that it affected our faith if we wanted to lead again. But it's great to see us three back here right now. And
I just want to add on to that too. Like that year when we had our election in Minnesota, it was like, I knew my heart was not in the right spot to be leading right now, to be a leader or to do anything. And like, that's not an excuse, like if you know that you're not right, if your heart is not in the right place, yeah, you shouldn't lead. If you know that like you're not up to that of like, it's really hard when it's going to be like one of the biggest battles that you're going to be fighting if you don't take that up with God. And like I knew, even though I was elected from all the position, I turned it all down because I was not in the right spot. I was not in my right mind. I was just not in my heart was just not in the right place at that time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Going back to that Minnesota conference, sorry, we're like totally kind of off, but
No, you're good.
I think that was, am I cutting off or am I
No,
okay?
you're good.
That was such an amazing moment, but in such an amazing moment, I think I had like, that was probably the first time I really ever felt kind of disappointed in myself. Like I was going into nursing school and I just remember Jen, everyone always has their excuses for why they don't want to serve. So we just did it differently this time where Jen's like, if you don't want to do it, just say yes or no. And don't even give me like your excuses or reasons. And then so Jen came to me, she was like, do you want to do it? And then I hesitated because, I had my reasons and then I was starting school and, everything just became an excuse. So I was just like, no. And then she just looked at me and she just said, I'm so disappointed. Or she just said something and it made me realize like, man, like I think this is the year that, I'm gonna basically hand my blessing to other people. Not that, there wouldn't be enough blessings, but you basically kind of hand that away. And just seeing how that election like panned out, like there's no, okay, I'm so speechless. There's no other explanation but to say that God was in that house, because I think that's the first election that ever went down that way. First election that we just, worshiped before the results came out. First election that people that never stepped up just felt called. And I think it was, that team brought such amazing memories and like experiences for the national youth in general. But I think that was just a testament to be like, dude, like, don't be coming up with excuses, because you're just gonna be missing that blessing that this whole team got, and I don't know, I think every time like something happened, like an event or something, I always not that I was trying to compare like the group before to the new group, but I think I was just always like, man, what a blessing it would have been to have been a part of this team, to have said no in that moment, and like, I think I always felt guilt for not for not serving the team, but for coming up with excuses. And I don't know, I wish we would have caught that on camera. I think everyone in that house, like, I've never really experienced like super chills, but I think that was the first time I was just ever like, dude, like, I don't even got words, because God's just taking it up, So sorry, that's just all I wanted to say.
No, you're good. That's definitely a good point. Well, all right, my turn to talk about my journey. So basically, I think it was around 2014, 15. I was like, or 2013, 14. It was when the conference, when Nancy was first elected with. So I think that year was when I first kind of just became part of my local church, and I came in not knowing anybody. I think, like, I briefly remember seeing Adam, Nancy, and like everyone, but like we never really got to know each other or really talk, because I was just kind of like in the background and shy. And like I missed out on an opportunity right there to like really meet everyone, because that conference like just kind of was a blur to me. And then I think the next following couple of years, when I became president of my local church, I think Sally's last year leading, he pulled me in, and like as a board member, and he just messaged me saying like, hey, like we have a new plan. We're trying to incorporate local leaders on the board to be more involved. And I think that was kind of like my first step into building my faith and my belief. I think just because going forward, I never had strong faith in what I was doing or believing in. So yeah, I think it was at Camp Among the Living, where like I think when I came to that camp, I just really wanted to understand everything more about my faith and who I was. And I think that year, like I just really asked the right questions. Like I was really just hungry that year, and I pulled all the leaders aside. I pulled the pastors. Like I talked to Dwell, Jimmy, Sally, Jen. Like I was just talking to everybody one on one to like fully try to understand like what was happening around me. And they really all planted like this seed inside me to really like encourage me to keep serving and keep striving. And as the years went by, I stayed more involved with TCNY, and like we talked about earlier, it's not all fun and games. As leaders, we go through a lot of hardships that the youth can't see, because we're in the background doing stuff, and no one knows like the struggle of just like getting people to meetings or getting people to be more involved. And I think like that took a really heavy toll. And then I like I said earlier, like I didn't want to serve. Like at one point, you just kept saying like, "This is my last year. It's my last year. I don't want to be involved anymore." But Kyle and Christy, when they both took over, and I think that election was the only one where everyone kind of stepped up to the plate, like Nancy was saying. Because I think Kyle stepped up as president. Like we didn't need to nominate anyone else. Like she stepped up right away, and then she pulled in Christy, and Christy said yes right away. And Tony, Che Yang, like everyone just kind of like raised their hand and was ready. And I think I was the only one that was nominated to come in as the treasurer. And even then, like I hesitated about serving again, just because all the previous leaders left, and I wasn't sure how it would work with a new team. But they definitely carried me. They relit a fire within me to serve, and it's why I'm still here, continuing serving. But like I think, what they sparked it was definitely like I think a really important moment in my life, because they kept me going to the point where like they kept my hunger alive, and I kept going, searching more and more about myself, and it led to me finally getting baptized And I think 2018 when we did that camp that year, like I think because the whole baptized idea to me was such like a special moment to me where I felt like you had to be, at peace with yourself. You have to, be ready. Because some people say like it was just kind of like a stepping stone, but like to me, I always saw it as a more serious importance. Like if you get baptized, you're accepting God as your Lord and Savior, and like what you do, you represent Him. And for a long period, like I just felt like I wasn't ready for that because I knew myself. I knew that I was stubborn and all this stuff that I wasn't going to represent God in a good way. So it took me a while, but that year everything just kind of fell into place because I think that's when Sally was getting ordained as a pastor, and then like just felt like I was finally at peace with myself, and I was happy like with everything that was going on, and and when I sat and talked to Sally about it, it was such a emotional time. We talked a little back and forth how he didn't want to, he didn't want me to rush into things and make sure I was ready for this moment. And it was such a great moment to have to share with him. Like he's such like a good brother of mine to where he, really helped me elevate me to a new level. And I think following that night, we did communion, right? And that was such a different moment for me because I think, it was my first time able to do communion, and I just remember crying so much just because like growing up, you're told that you have to be baptized to be able to do communion. But I know that in Trinity, we don't require you to do that, but growing up, I always thought that that was what you had to do. And so to be able to finally do communion, like I would just remember crying with Tony for the longest period. That was such a blessing, and I waited so long for that blessing, and it's just amazing. And that has been my journey so far. But so,
Oh, thank
hmm?
you for sharing.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, it's crazy how like we didn't know who you were at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like no, we just knew you for the word of mouth. And like you were the president for your church, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're just like, who is this Justin guy? Just hearing it from Pastor Solomon and Tony, because you guys all game together.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, who is this Justin guy? And then that was when we came up for that revival, and that was the first time ever meeting you. And then the year after is when we started serving together.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
Man, we
it's
make
like
it sound like obviously we make it sound like this journey is like hella tough, and we went through like the rings of fires and all this stuff. So I hope we're not scaring everyone, but it's
No.
just a part of life.
You're just growing up through this process.
Yeah. So if y'all
I think a lot of the
listening,
time. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You're good.
No, I think a lot of the times, well, for me, I think I was just hiding in the background. I was just too scared to do anything and to make any commitments,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. All this time, I'm like, everybody thinks that mine's just quiet, but y'all don't know she's funny. She just hides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For it, like with every journey, like say you hear about our journey we went through. Every journey you come with like something a big challenge that stops you. So my second question going in, what's the biggest challenge you guys face so far right now?
I can go ahead and start this off then. I think one of like the biggest challenge is probably something I'm going through like at the moment, or more recently I should say. Like recently, like my family, we lost, my uncle in January. And I think just the whole process of grieving, it's just some days are good, some days are, challenging, and it's not really like the physical part of it, like, or anything tangible that is challenging, but it's more like the mental or the emotional side of it too. And so, like I said, some days are good, but and some days are bad. And I think I've said this before too, but like sometimes like as Christians, like we like a lot of people expect us to like like be like so like strong-willed and whatnot, and but really, our challenges really make who we are, and just like I said, some days are good and some days like my emotions are just all over, and that's just, I think, acknowledging and just coping with that, acknowledging that those emotions are true and real. That's just the grieving phase, and a part of the grieving phase, I should say. But that's definitely something I'm still going through, and I think I think as time goes by, it'll just get better. But yeah, just wanted to share that.
No, you're good. We're here for you.
For me, I think I don't. Hold on, let me think about this. I think a big challenge for me is just, darn it. I mean, it kind of falls along the line of like my biggest regret too, I guess. Okay, so I guess the biggest challenge for me is just basically finishing up or, graduating from college. That was a big event in my life for me, and it took me like 6 years, and there were struggles throughout all those 6 years. I mean, it's not so different from anybody else's got like challenges. It's just going to school, but I think devoting 6 years to it and actually finishing it, it was a challenge because there were times when I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to go work and get money. But yeah, that was probably one of the biggest challenge for me.
I think my biggest challenge so far is also have to do with college as well. I think right now for a lot of college students, we're stuck in the world situation of the coronavirus pandemic. Going to college online kind of sucks.
Nah.
Yeah, sucks. You don't really learn like you're supposed to, and I was supposed to get stuff ready to study abroad, but now I can't do that. I don't know when I'll be able to do that or if I can do that anymore. So but besides that, I think from like all the stories that you heard from everybody here of their journey, I think this goes for me, and I think for everybody else, the biggest challenge you face is always yourself. You're trying to overcome whatever you're going through or your hesitations or whatever. I think that's usually the biggest challenge.
Where are you gonna go abroad?
Japan.
Whoa, Daijo Boo.
I guess my biggest challenge right now would be my work. I'm in the middle of transitioning, training to become a manager. So they might transfer me to a different FedEx, different schedule and everything. So I might have to like let go of my position at the church. I mean, I'll still be part of the church, but I won't have enough time to be serving in the church anymore. So yeah, we'll see how that goes when the time comes. That's like in the next 4 or 5 months. So yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that until that actually does come around.
Well, congrats if you get it. Good luck.
Yep, I'm in the process of training right now, so
Well, definitely keep us updated.
Yes, I'm really hoping that I could like make my own schedule and like, still go to church, still serve in the church. But if a comes down to that sacrifice, I don't know. Choose my job or choose ministry. That's the hard part.
Definitely is.
Because you want your job to be stable enough for you to serve in ministries.
That is true.
Yep.
Like mine's my biggest challenge, I guess, so far is just finishing school, or finishing a degree so far, because I do plan to go back. But I think that was probably one of my biggest challenges, because it took me 10 years to just get like an AS degree. I think that was, going through failure and then not knowing if you're going to finish was probably my biggest challenge so far. I think currently, if we're talking about like the church, I think my biggest challenge is, because I have no issues really serving if people ask me to serve. I think my issue is really just knowing God and like putting in work and time to actually pursue God, if you guys know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us probably do this, where we kind of just, we serve, but we don't really get to the heart of God. And I that's one reason why I really like that this team is starting Bible studies, because I think in all the teams that I've been in, I don't know if we've ever really went through the Bible together and studied it. So it's just really nice, because I don't do it on my own time. So, and because it's a schedule with National Youth and just with all the youths, how we invite everyone, it's just it just regulates me. So it's just really nice. So I guess my current challenge is just finding a job and pursuing God and really not forgetting Him. When they're like, oh, don't, where you are now, you prayed for God to get you here, so don't forget about who got you here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's just the current challenge.
You know what's crazy about that is that every time we have an event or something, we ask you to like help us lead, and you don't even hesitate to, say yes. Like, especially when like for camp, when we ask you, you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. Like, that was one of the biggest things that I've seen about you, Nancy, is that you always put your leadership first. You always put the worship first than anything
That's
else.
so nice. Thanks. No, I think it's like I enjoy doing it, and like when people ask me, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I ain't got nothing else to do. But then it's such a hard thing for me to do it myself. You know what I mean? So it's hard to be a leader, but it's easy to follow a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like my life, but and it's crazy because we are in leadership, but we still following leaders.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So my biggest challenge so far, I think it's cliche to say, but I think just growing up. I think like hitting 30 this year, I think just learning a lot about life and getting out of my comfort zone and just learning more about myself. And I think that's what started my whole move to Florida over here, was just to really learn more about what I'm capable of, and just like starting from scratch, not knowing anybody over here and just seeing what I could do. I think I've just been so blessed and sheltered by like my families and friends for such a long time that I never really knew what I could do. Like you just become comfortable with what you have, and like it's been a interesting journey over here. I had to learn how to fix my car, how to look for a place to live, and just like manage your finance better. Just because my parents are no longer there to be like my insurance when like I screw up or I get into trouble. They're here to bail me out. Now like I'm more responsible for myself, and I have to hold myself accountable for things I do, because no one's gonna protect me over here right now. But it's definitely been interesting, just going day by day, you know, learning everything over here on the ropes. And but like I think I've got something good. I've got a good opportunity over here. I've made good friends. But yeah, it's been good so far. It's been hard, but I enjoy it.
Do you plan to move back anytime soon?
In a couple of years, hopefully, I get a better higher position where I can transfer to Cali and be in a better position there. So that is my
So,
game plan, is to end up in Cali. So
yeah.
It was good. I think that's Christy's plan too.
see, we all.
I'm just kidding.
You're right. I forgot about that.
Christy got the all signs. Christy got all the signs. She came to Kelly like 3 times in a row. Right? And like, dude, God is telling you to move here. You should just move here.
So moving forward, we've covered the journey, the challenges the journeys have, but through the journey, it's always great to have people there to help you and support you. So, my third question to everyone is, who is your main support group, and why is it important to have one?
My main support group, I would definitely say it's my family. I would say my family, my siblings, my parents. They know how I am. I mean, I'm sure like your whole family knows how you are too. But of course, like Eugene and Gay, like they won't cast any judgment on you. Oh, I mean, maybe they will, but like, but like they know how like I work. They know why I do the things I do, why I say the things I say, or like how I serve. And like just being a part of TCNY, like they know how important it is for me. And although like we're not up, like my family, they're not part of like a TCC church, they know why I'm still serving the youth, and they know that it doesn't really even matter that, like they're not a part of TCC church or whatnot there, but, they still support me in all that I do too. And so, they are definitely like they know like, oh, Thursdays are my days where I'm usually doing TCNY stuff, and they're always supporting me in that. And I think it's important to have a support group. I mean, like somewhere in the Bible it says, 2 is better than 1. Just having someone else there with you. They're able to call you out on the things that you might not see that you're doing. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Dude, I love your family. They always, they support you when they show up as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
My main support groups, I would say it's my family and my friends. Family because they're like my backbone. They definitely remind me of what's important and what I need to focus on. And they just, yeah. And then another support group I have are my friends. I think they're like different support in their own ways. I'm glad to say that I'm blessed to have multiple groups of friends, and one friend that is like in all those groups of friends is Nancy. I would say she's probably one of my biggest support group or person. I think it's important to have that one person that understands you and like everything that you do, and just like like Christy said, like they tell you what's up, they tell you what you need to hear, or like they put you on track in a sense, like if you're not doing something right, she tells me like what's up. And so yeah, and I really appreciate that, and I appreciate like everyone that's in my life, and like even you guys too. You guys are, a group of friends that help me and in my faith, and just like, support me too.
Yeah, that's sweet. I really admire you and Nancy's friendship. I really do believe like we need at least that one other person. Like I said, 2 is better than 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Ka.
She said, okay, Ka went to sue.
Yeah. My main support. It's gonna get repetitive for this question
No, you're good.
for everybody.
Yeah.
But again, same as everyone else, family and friends. I, again, I think it's important because again, like everybody else has said, they kind of call you out when you kind of just messing up on something or if you need help on something. But I think it's also really important because I think there are those moments when you kind of stumble in life, you kind of fall in life, and they're that group that helps you back up. And I don't know. I think because I've seen people who decide they don't need anyone, and it's really hard for them to get back up, or they're just kind of stuck in a very negative way.
Mhm.
And I feel like I think in life you need to find that support group, whether it's friends or family.
For sure.
You guys all said it already. It's family. You know, that's the biggest thing. But I guess in terms of like serving side by side with my family, you know, that's like one of the biggest thing. And also my church too. You know, they're really support in everything that we do as TCNY. Like, you know, when we had our revival or every time we have an event over here and we just ask our church, our church don't even hesitate to tell us no. You know, they'll just
That's
like,
true.
oh, we don't have
That's so
anything
true.
going on that day, so yeah, you guys could just have the church all to yourself. And like that's one of the biggest support that, you know, we could ask. That's one of the biggest best blessings that we could ask from a church, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And they know how important ministry is for us too. So yeah, you know, I just want to put that out there that like my church is like literally my biggest support group in what I do in terms of ministry.
Very true.
Sorry, can I add a little something to that?
Go for it.
I'm glad that you brought that up,
Yeah.
Adam, because like not calling any churches out, but I know there are some churches out there where they don't really support their youth groups.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard, really hard on the youth groups to actually do work. Yeah, and it's hard for the youth group to grow too because there's no support from the church. And so like having that support system from the church is very helpful. And I definitely do see that your church does, support you guys and all that you guys do, and for TCNY too. And so yeah, I'm really grateful for you guys also.
That's true.
Like everyone said, it's gonna get repetitive. I think in life, all you need is good family, good friends, and just good judgment. Yeah, everyone knows that Manta and I are really close. Whatever.
Mhm.
We'll leave it like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I always joke about it. But I always say she's like, I don't know what the correct way to say it is, but they say that she's the yin to my yang, whatever. Whichever one is black, I am. Whichever one is white, she is. So it's just nice because sometimes your family is always there to support you, but like, and my family is always there for me. The only thing I would say is just like my siblings, they don't really go to church, so I don't really have like my siblings like to always go to church with, but I feel like mine is like a sister to me, so it's just nice that I can always turn to her if I have issues within the church or within my faith. And we always kind of guide each other, so that's nice. And like yeah, my group of friends, I feel like I have a very strong group of friends because they're all very strong-minded and strong-willed, and we don't really do like really bad things. And I just think that's important to live a good life, even if like if you should ever not go to church, which you should not go to church, but you should have a
Whoa.
strong
That double
Sorry.
negative.
I know.
how to think about it. But yeah, basically having a strong set of friends and yeah, as your support group is very important. And honestly, like, not even gonna lie, I really am thankful for TCC Stockton. Not even just like what Christy and Adam were saying, but I think as much as I've strayed and stuff, if they ever have events, like I'm always down to go because I know that I'll always have a good time. Two, I always get slapped in the face by God in a good way. And three, like yeah, I don't know, I don't have three. But yeah,
Three,
it's
he
just
gets
really
slapped in
good.
the face by Mama Jen.
Yeah. So they're a good support system too. So I mean, it's not to bag on my local youth either, but it's just I'm just very happy that I have brothers and sisters in Christ that aren't local, that kind of keep me in check. Because like sometimes local weird things happen locally, and then you don't realize, and then when you go nationally, you kind of get revamped or whatever. So I'm just all rambling, whatever. So yeah, good church, good family, good friends.
True. Yeah.
Very true. I said, definitely TCNY has been a big part of my life, without expecting such a great support group from everyone. Even people I've known for a long time and people I've just met, I think everyone's impacted me in a good way. Everyone's just been very, they keep me humble and very accountable. But I think there's one person that I don't really talk about and not a lot of people know about, but I think he's been a very positive and sometimes negative, but mostly positive impact on me. He's always sacrificed a lot for me. My older brother, Kevin. I think only a couple of you guys met him, but he sacrificed a lot for me to have what I have. I think without him, I wouldn't be able to come to camp and other events so much. I wouldn't be able to be involved in TCNY without him. He's worked very hard to really take the load off our family business because we work so much that he does a lot to make sure that I'm able to have free time to do these things. And I think, I don't give him enough credit for his support just because we've always bumped heads a lot growing up. I think we've both developed different point of views of life or have opinions, and we always got into a lot of fights. But even through all that, he's always had my back. He's always supported every decision I made, even if he disagreed with it. He's always pushed me to be more. And he's been a very supportive brother, even if he needs to just argue with me about something. But I just don't give him enough credit, and I think he does deserve it. And the reason why I believe it's very important to have a support groups because they catch you when you fall. Like everyone said, they really do put you in your place when you need to be told so. And because sometimes we're very blinded by our goals or our pride, and sometimes we don't see that we're running straight into a wall. And sometimes you need them to tell you hey, if you just think it through before you make this decision. And lastly, just iron sharpens iron. You need people there to really help you out.
You should bring him to camp one day if it's ever possible.
No, I've always wanted to, and I've always wanted them to be able to see what I'm involved with, but it's very hard with our business. That's why I left. It's a good reason.
That's why I left.
Moving forward, so we covered the journey, challenges, and the support group, how they help you. So now just going forward, fourth question is, is just something you regret. I know, we can always say I don't regret anything, or if it happens, it happens. But then I honestly believe that before we learned that God has a plan for us, we regret something we do before we realize that it was supposed to happen this way. So I challenged the team to give a real definite answer and just don't say something cliche.
Okay. This one was a pretty tricky one. I can't really come up with a situation or win or a event or whatnot, but I know sometimes when you're younger you don't realize what you do and or what you say and whatnot, and you don't really realize the impact of your actions and whatnot. And so I know when I was younger, said some things and did some things to my parents, and I know that they've shed tears for that. And so, I mean, like that, I know that's a little cliche, but that's definitely something that I do regret. It's not something like I'm proud of and whatnot, but like if I ever made anyone else feel the same way, I like totally like regret that, just because like the feeling like that, I just hate that I cause pain, to others. And so and of course that's just due to like you're younger and you don't know, you like they say, like you get so sad and all that. And so yeah, that's the only thing I can really think of. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm deciding what I want to say.
Mine's is never wrong. Y'all should see when I ask her, like, oh, what's something that you've done that's really mean? She always comes up with like, oh, I killed an ant today. I'm like, this girl.
Hey. No, no, because I wrote something down and now I don't know if I want to say it, but I'm probably not going to say that one. So just thinking about it, I think one of my biggest regrets is probably almost having the thought of, I guess, turning back on the church, or turning back on Trinity, and just even like announcing it just a little bit, or letting people know that I'm having thoughts of leaving. I felt like that was a moment where I felt like I knew what I was doing, but then I didn't, and during that time, it was a very, I guess, hard and emotional time for me, just because I wanted to, I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt like I was, what's that word? I'm trying to come up with a word. I don't know, I just felt bad for just turning my back on the church and Trinity, and just letting people know that, I'm considering leaving, and so this might be it. But then in the end, like, here I am. And I mean, I'm great that I appreciate that I went through that too, because I, discovered things that I'm able to like share with you guys today, and I'm here with you guys today, but then that was probably one of my biggest regrets, because I felt, I guess to put it in simple terms, I felt dumb, like I really did that, and then all of a sudden here I am, but I truly do regret that, and I feel bad, and but I am glad that I am here now with you guys, and just getting to have this opportunity to serve with you guys and just learn from you guys and learn from all of this. So yeah.
I don't know. Regret's always kind of hard for me to pick, because I never thought, did I regret that or did I not? But I don't I don't know if it counts as regret, but I think one of the things that I felt most badly about, I want to say, is my first time being president of my youth group in Merced, because it wasn't the best term, and I felt like I could have done a lot better, but I don't know, it was rough, and I don't know how to explain it.
No, you're all right.
But it was kind of rough, and I felt really bad, because I know I could have done better, and I should have done better. I was kind of my first time being in that role, and I guess it was kind of a wake up call for me to learn from that, and it's what allowed me to want to be a part of TCNY, and to learn like what are my faults, and to keep learning what my faults are. But I don't know, it's hard. I don't really have too many regrets or any at all.
All right, I'll take the answer.
Yeah. I don't have any regrets because, like, I'm not saying that, everything happens for a reason. I'm saying that life always hits us with the curveballs that, you just got to learn how to adapt and equip yourself with whatever that you have and just go on with life. Yeah, I don't know. I've been contemplating with this question for a while that, like, just thinking back, I don't regret anything. Like, I've been very blessed with my family, very blessed with like the jobs that I have. So I don't know. Justin, this was a really hard question because, you know, you, I, we grow up just trusting in God and like what He has in His plan for us. Like, even if we don't see it then and there, like, we know what's going to happen in the end.
I got you.
I don't know what to say.
No, no, you're good. No, I think you bring a good point.
Like, that's my answer.
Yeah, I'll take it.
But I really, yeah, I don't regret anything because I believe that God has my life in His hands, and He's the one that guides me.
Cool.
We'll take it.
You know, gosh, Adam just said but I always, this question has come up a lot just within like different Christian groups and whatnot that I attend. But I don't think that I regret things that I've done. I think because a lot of the choices that I make, even if they were not always right, they've helped me grow into the person that I am. And even like, you would think that people would be like, well, if it's a wrong choice, and don't you regret it? It's like, yeah, I may have regretted doing it, but I don't take it back. Like, I wouldn't take it back because it helped me, like you learn from those situations. I think if anything, what I would change is not that the things that I did happen, but the way that I went about it, like maybe the timing,
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, I would just say that I don't think I can't really, like, when you say do you regret anything, there's really nothing that comes to mind, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And not saying that I have no mistakes, but sometimes when you ask a question and something big comes to mind, you're like, oh, that. But yeah, I think there are a lot of choices that I've made that if I had the chance, I still would not take back because they've helped me grow into who I am. They've helped me mature, and it just helps you process things. So when situations might arise again, you don't do what you did, and if you do, then you just learn even more. But yeah, I think that'll just be my answer.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Could I add a little bit something into that?
Yes.
Nancy, I liked how you brought that up because I feel like with almost every situation, it comes back with where you feel like there's a regret or something. There's like a lesson learned with that, Like I was just, like when I was thinking about the question too, I was thinking about, what, like I regret not spending enough time with, maybe like a loved one that passed away or something. But then now, like when I think about that, I'm like, okay, well, that just gives me more reasons to spend time with people who are actually still alive, like
Yeah.
and it's not just like, oh, okay, like if I could take back the time, of course I would spend time with them then, but do I regret it? Yeah, so it's nice that you brought that up.
Mm.
Definitely. I think everyone brought a good point of view and good answers to the question. It was meant to be tough because I think, we get away a lot with just saying like, oh, I don't regret anything because, everything happens for a reason. And I think a lot of people say that, but like, I think there's a deeper meaning behind that. I think you guys all did a good job explaining it. For my little different, I think for me, like, I do have a regret and I do wish to fix it. I think in general, my biggest regret nowadays just not being a good traditional Hmong son to my parents. I think just not being the loving son that they expected of me. I think, my parents always encouraged me and my brother to be leaders or to be something more. And I think that made me strive so hard that my mindset just changed from what they expected. And, like I just focus on growing and growing. And, sometimes I don't look back. And I think in the sense they feel like I forget about them. And, I think I do. I think I don't bring enough to focus on loving my parents. But at the same time, I think that we just both have different love language. I think we both show love to each other in a different way. Um, so it makes us bump heads a lot. But I do blame that on me. I know I am very stubborn and I can be self-righteous and think that everything I do is right. And I do believe I get that from my parents also. So they're part to blame for it. But like I like I said, but as I said, it is a lesson. I think from learning from this is just learning to take time for your loved ones and learning to check on them and because they're still people also. I think we grow up and we're so focused on living life and doing so much that we sometimes forget to just take our time and enjoy the small things in life. So my only thing is before you know everyone time ends on earth, like I need to slow down and just love my parents, love my friends and family a little bit more. Going on, we've talked a lot about our journey and our battles. So for my last question for this podcast, so now it's our turn to help the other people. So what advice would you give to others facing a challenge in their life?
Um, I think my advice would be like reach out. Reach out. I mean, find someone you trust, find a group that you trust, and reach out. Ask questions. Maybe some folks are already, but then if you haven't started that process, I think that's definitely a good way to start. Like for instance, like the Journey Mentorship Program. When we opened that up, it was more of we wanted to see what the mentees want out of the program, rather than what can the mentors do for the mentees, right?
Yeah.
And so, like again, like my advice would be reach out, talk to people, ask questions. Like when you don't open your heart, nobody's really going to know what you're going through. But of course, like you want to guard your heart too, but still like, I think we're put into community for a reason, it's to help each other out. And so definitely reach out. Yeah.
Very true.
That's
Good points.
That's a good one. Mine was similar to that, but I just had a change of heart, and I'm gonna change it to. This is gonna sound like it might sound mean, but I'm just gonna say it. My advice would probably be to just do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we spend a lot of time going back and forth. We spend a lot of time going back and forth on contemplating, like, should we do it? Should we not? What's holding you back? You're scared. All these thoughts. And I'm a timid person too. Like, just asking for more butter on my popcorn, I'm scared. But it's like, it's like, what can possibly happen, if you just go out and do it? Like, you'll get your answer eventually, and you don't waste the time that that you're going back and forth on just the answer alone. So I think this is like an encouragement for me too, because I'm still trying to get things moving along in my life. And when it comes to mine, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. Like I have to do this and I have to do that, and in order for me to accomplish one thing, but at the end of the day, it's just do it. If you fail,
then you know what you did wrong, and you just do it again, and just keep going. And yeah, so that's my
Just,
advice.
I just wanted to piggyback off of that. Asians, we grow up a little more passive, and I think a lot of people, I guess, would say use that as a reason to not really do anything.
That is
or
true.
not. Yeah, so I would say don't blame your outcome on you being passive. Not okay. It's hard to explain, but there was a time where like one of my friends got upset at her parents, and she was just like, I blame you guys because you guys raised us as like passive people, so we don't know how to speak up for ourselves. And my mindset was, you have a choice to remain passive, and if you want something, then you have to step out of that comfort zone and get it. So like what Mindset was saying, you just got to do it. Don't use your childhood and the way you were raised to like basically deter you from what you could possibly get.
For sure.
Y'all took my answer. So I can't come back to me. Maybe I'll have something.
Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I might sound a little mean too, but coming from experience, we're all growing up. We're all gonna be adults. We know right from wrong, And my advice is, work with what you got. It doesn't matter like if you're rich or poor, or like if you're the only one doing the job, or if you're the only one like facing the challenge. Like just so you know that you're not the only one facing the challenge. God is always going to be with you. So always work with what you got. We've gone through so many challenges that like we thought we could never achieve, as a team too. Like, and we come to an understanding that what we got was the best thing that like ever happened too. Like that's because God always provide. That's the one thing that I tell people, is that God will always provide. He's never gonna give you more than what you can't handle. So yeah, always work with what you got. Like no matter what, like go for it. Like what you're saying, you don't just do it. Like what are you waiting for? Like God is putting you in this situation for you to do it, not for you to just stand around and wait for others. Because in that moment, it's like you're waiting for you're not waiting for God. And so my biggest advice is, just go for it. And yeah, I mean, it sounds harsh, but like I said, we're adults. We know right from wrong. We know the right thing to do.
That is true.
I like what you said.
I think for me, wait, the question is, what is your advice for the younger ones?
Yeah, what advice would you give to others facing a challenge in their life?
Probably that you're never too bad or you're never too good for God. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't pursue God because of bad choices they've made, and I think a lot of people don't pursue God because they're in a really good spot. And I think we use him as a genie a lot. But I just wanted to remind everyone that you're never in a too good spot or too bad of a spot to reach out to God. Yeah, I would say use your resources, like the people around you. Don't bottle it in. If you have issues, speak to someone that you trust that won't judge you. I don't really know, but I guess like what they were saying, you will never know until you put yourself in the shoes and you push for something. So go for it. Don't be afraid to stumble. Okay, that's all.
Good points. Shayang, you got something?
Yeah, I just want to add on to what Nancy was saying at the end of like, we all face different challenges. And what Christy was saying earlier, two is better than one. That like, ask for help too, because you never know that that person is going through the same thing as you are, and like you guys understand each other in that situation. That like, in that moment, that time, and yeah, it will be there. Like it will come around.
Justin, this is where you insert Taylor Swift song. The two is better than one.
Yeah.
Just like
I don't really have anything to add on because what I wanted to say was already said.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
if
You're
y'all
right.
got questions, watch the Shia LaBeouf video on Just Do It.
Yeah.
It's a meme, but it's so true. Like it's super
Yeah.
true what he said.
Yesterday, you said today. Just do it.
Yeah, I think everyone on the team brought pretty good point of views and answers. I think best way is always you guys show sympathy, and I think that's what the world needs a little bit more. So I think you guys all have good answers.
Also, if someone's reaching out to you, can you not be mean and like be respectful of that? It probably took them a lot of courage to come to you, so don't be mean, people.
Yeah, very true. So with everyone saying, I said definitely reach out to people, definitely seek advice, help from others. The only thing I'll add on is, it's okay to let yourself be vulnerable, let people in. I think sometimes we don't drop our pride and we're very prideful, and it makes us hard to face these challenges alone because we think we have to be tough and do it alone, and we don't accept help. But be vulnerable, allow people in, and also just understand it's okay to fail. It's okay to take 5 steps back or something. And sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes that's what you need to be able to see the bigger picture that's just not working, and you have to go different directions. And I think we get caught up in I don't want to say stupidity, but I think we get caught up in that, just being very prideful, and where we believe that the answer we got is the right answer, and we keep going forward against this wall, and this wall is just not breaking, and you just don't see that maybe it's telling you to turn around and go a different route. So whatever challenge you face through, just don't be prideful. Take a step back and see what's other options you have. That will definitely help you overcome whatever you're facing. Just remember, lastly, you're never alone. You definitely have all these people that are willing to help you, and don't think that you have to go through it alone.
That's true. Yep.
I also want to add
agree.
there's probably one adult that we have in our lives, like if I were to think about like the national youth, there is probably at least one person that has gone through what you've gone through. So don't be afraid to reach out to the older people, because we be going through things and everything. So
Let's go through things together.
That's true.
wow. Okay. Let's
Quote
sing
writer.
together.
Well, that's all I have for the questions. Hopefully you all learn more about us and what we've gone through, and hopefully you can take away from our experiences. And just know, like, we all go through this journey to find out who we are, and just know that the road is never perfect. It's never easy. It's a roller coaster, but it's not a race. We're not racing with each other. We're all here to help each other grow. And if you ever do need help, please reach out to anyone here on the team. Reach out to your local leaders. There's a lot of people out there willing to help you and be your support. So with that being said, please join us next time
when we break the bread.